China's story is remarkable. In just 4 decades, it lifted over 800 million people out of extreme poverty. That's like making the entire population of Europe disappear from poverty. This incredible feat wasn't magic. It was the result of hard work, smart policies, and a little bit of that Chinese discipline. Now, let's talk about South Africa. We've got so much potential, it's almost unfair. But poverty remains a stubborn problem. So what can we learn from China's experience? Can we replicate their success? The good news is there are valuable lessons to be learned. China's journey offers a roadmap for developing nations like ours, but we need to be smart about it. We can't just copy-paste their strategies. We need to adapt them to our own unique context. In the late 1970s, China was like that friend who always struggled to pay rent. They decided to make a change. They opened up their economy, inviting foreign investment and embracing market forces. This was a game changer. Think of it like this. China went from selling vegetables at a street corner to owning a global supermarket chain. Their economy boomed, and with that growth came jobs, opportunities, and a dramatic reduction in poverty. But economic growth alone wasn't enough. China knew that to truly lift people out of poverty, they needed a multi-pronged approach. They focused on both urban and rural development, investing heavily in infrastructure, education, and healthcare. China's economic miracle was fueled by 2 powerful engines: industrial expansion and agricultural development. They went on a factory-building spree, creating millions of jobs and turning rural farmers into factory workers. Imagine a wave of new factories popping up, offering jobs and opportunities to people who had only known farming. That's what happened in China. But they didn't forget about agriculture. They invested in technology and training, making farming more efficient and profitable. This 2-pronged approach ensured that both urban and rural areas benefited from economic growth. It was like giving a car a powerful engine and a smooth transmission, a recipe for success. China understood that development is more than just factories and farms. It's also about building the infrastructure that connects people, goods, and ideas. They invested heavily in roads, railways, airports, and telecommunications. Think of it like building a network of highways and bridges connecting every corner of your country. That's what China did. This massive infrastructure development not only facilitated trade and economic activity, but also created millions of jobs. But it wasn't just about physical infrastructure. China also invested heavily in social infrastructure, schools, hospitals, and social safety nets. They knew that a healthy and educated population is crucial for sustainable development. Section 5. Precision targeting, leaving no one behind. China's approach to poverty reduction wasn't just about throwing money at the problem. They adopted a targeted approach, identifying the poorest regions and households and tailoring interventions to their specific needs. Imagine a doctor diagnosing a patient's illness before prescribing medication. That's what China did with poverty. They sent teams of officials to villages to assess the situation and design targeted programs. This targeted approach ensured that resources reached those who needed them most. It was like a laser beam focusing on the root causes of poverty and delivering precise solutions. Section 6. The visible hand, the role of the state. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: China's political system. They achieved these remarkable feats under a socialist system with a strong central government. The state played a dominant role in guiding the economy, setting priorities, and mobilizing resources. Some might argue that this model can't be replicated in a democratic system like South Africa's. But here's the thing. It's not about copying their system, but about learning from their approach. The key takeaway is the importance of a strong and decisive state that can prioritize national development and implement policies effectively. It's about having a clear vision and the political will to see it through. Section 7. Lessons from the East. A blueprint for South Africa. So, what can South Africa learn from China's experience? First and foremost, we need to recognize the importance of state intervention. The government must play a proactive role in driving economic growth, creating jobs, and reducing inequality. We need to invest heavily in infrastructure, education, and healthcare. We need to create a conducive environment for businesses to thrive and create jobs. And we need to implement social safety nets to protect the most vulnerable. But it's not just about government action. We need a collective effort. Businesses, civil society and ordinary citizens all have a role to play in building a more prosperous and equitable South Africa. Section 8. Adapting the model South Africa's unique path. While China's experience offers valuable lessons, we must adapt them to our own context. We can't simply replicate their model. We need to consider our own history, our democratic institutions, and our unique challenges. For instance, we need to ensure that our development is inclusive and benefits all South Africans, not just a select few. We need to prioritize sustainable development, protecting our environment while we grow our economy. And we need to ensure that our economic growth translates into real improvements in the lives of ordinary people. This means creating decent jobs, improving access to quality education and healthcare, and building a more just and equitable society. Section 9. A shared future towards sustainable prosperity. China's journey out of poverty is an inspiration to the world. It shows what can be achieved with determination, strategic planning, and a commitment to national development. While their model may not be directly transferable, there are valuable lessons that South Africa can learn and adapt. The path to prosperity won't be easy. It will require hard work, sacrifice, and a shared vision for the future. But by learning from China's experience and adapting those lessons to our own context, we can create a brighter future for all South Africans. Let's work together to build a South Africa where poverty is a distant memory and every citizen has the opportunity to reach their full potential. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let's take that step together.